So in labour, your baby actually does quite a lot of movements to get through your pelvis, and this is going to be really helpful to know when you're thinking about different positions that you can get into during your labour. Now, when our babies first go into our pelvis, they ideally go down looking towards your right-hand side. So this is your left, this is your right, and the baby's back is going to be facing onto your left-hand side and looking towards that way. And that's because when we look at the shape of your pelvis at the entrance, it's widest from side to side rather than from front to back. So widest here rather than from front to back here. So your baby fits into your pelvis. So when they're engaging, we ideally want them to go down looking towards the right. Now, as they then start to move through your pelvis and they start to get further down when your cervix is getting further dilated, they actually then start to meet your pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor runs like a hammock and the bottom here, all along that vagina, so inside is your pelvic floor. And your pelvic floor, normally in labour, if you haven't had an epidural, is really active. And what that means is that as your baby comes further down into your pelvis, it then actually rotates on your pelvic floor to look down towards your bum. And that's because, again, when we look at the bottom of the pelvis, the diameter from front to back is now wider than from side to side. So they essentially corkscrew through your pelvis. Then when you start to push, your baby's then head will start to make its way through your birth canal, and it almost takes 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And you're pushing, and then it comes back again. And the exit of the vagina is around here. So it's actually a C shape in your birth canal. It's not a straight passageway. And at the exit here, where the baby's coming out, this is where we would start to see more and more of the head at the vagina. Now, as your baby's head is then out, it will then be looking down towards your bum. So when your baby's head is born, literally this part hangs out like this. And then the baby actually does one more rotation. So it actually then turns its whole body to look to the side again. And that's just to help the shoulders come through the pelvis. And with one more push, the baby's shoulders will dislodge from behind your pubic bone, and they will come out through this C shape all the way out, and then they're delivered onto your skin for skin-to-skin contact. So that means that when we are thinking about our positions in labour, if our babies are moving through our pelvises, the back of your pelvis here involves your sacrum and your coccyx, and this actually can move in labour. So we want it to be able to move outwards to create more space for your babies to come out of the pelvis. So when we're thinking about positions, which will be in another module, we're trying to find positions where this is able to move. If we are on our backs, then that pressure is going to stop your sacrum from moving, and it restricts the output for your baby to come through. It doesn't give your baby much space. But if we're in positions like a forward-leaning position or an all-fours position, this can move up and out as your baby moves through this pelvis. If you're in side-lying positions, the same thing can happen. So it's really important to think about your positions in labour so that we're giving our babies lots of space to come through your pelvis and to make it much easier for them.